you can hear me now. All right, we're going to talk about having problems. I guess everybody in this room has problems from one time to the other. Brother Dennis had told us once that, if we weren't in a trial, we were coming out of one or going into one. Sometimes what we think is a problem is actually a test from God. And tests aren't comfortable. They weren't designed to be easy. They weren't designed for our enjoyment. So I want to read you a little story about Gideon in Judges 6, 25 through 26. Brother Dennis had told us once that, if we weren't in a trial, it came to pass the same night that the Lord said to him, "Take your father's young bull, the second bull of 7 years old, and tear down the altar of Baal that your father has, and cut down the wooden image that is beside it, and build an altar to the Lord your God on top of this rock in the proper arrangement. So I want to read. Take the second bull and offer a burnt sacrifice with the wood, the image that you shall cut down." Now this was a test for Gideon. Brother Dennis had told us once that it talks about cutting down the wood, the poles. These were called Take your father's young bull, the second bull of 7 years old, fertility goddess, tear down the altar of Asherah that your father I think it's kind of funny cut down the wooden image that is beside it, and build an altar to the Lord your God on top of this rock in the proper arrangement. So he could take the second bull and worship the Lord, sacrifice with the wood, the image that you shall cut down. So what was the Lord looking for out of Gideon? It talks about look at Judges 6:15. These were called at the beginning of the story of Gideon. We find that he has some bravery issues. And he says, "Pardon me, my Lord." I think it's kind of funny, but how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh, and I am the least in my family. Worship the Lord. So God has instructed him to tear down the image of Baal, or the altar of Baal. So what was and build an altar to the Lord, which was the Lord looking tested for his obedience and courage. Look at Judges. Gideon was about to become a judge, and he needed at the beginning that to be obedient. We find that he has some bravery issues. And he says, "Pardon me, my Lord." Now let's take a look at how can I save old Job. Y'all remember the story of Job. All that poor old fellow had to go through. But Job says in Job 23:10 that he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. So Job's suffering is framed as a test of his integrity and his faith being refined like gold. So what does it mean to be refined like gold? What is the significance of the refining of precious metals? So I'll tell you what a silversmith does, and a pretty common story. You might have heard it before. But Job says the silversmith takes the silver and puts it in his bed, the way that I take. And he puts that in the hottest part of the fire. So Job's suffering, it's not just hot, it's more hot. He's then able to take the impurities off the top. Just take them off. What does it mean to be refined like gold? And the purpose of this is to create pure, valuable silver. In spiritual terms, this means removing sin and perfecting someone's character. You might have heard it before, but the refiner knows when the silver is pure, and he can look down at the surface. And he puts that in the hottest part of the fire. So Job's suffering, it's not just hot, it's more hot. He's then able to take the impurities off the top. So if things are, heating up in your life, and the purpose of this is to create pure, valuable refining process is over. Spiritual terms, Jesus will be able to look down into your life, removing sin and perfecting someone's character. And that's what the refining. The refiner knows when the silver. So what happens when problems aren't a test from God? And he puts that in the hardest part. What if you're dealing with spiritual warfare? Stacy and I have been going through spiritual warfare for a couple of months now. It's not one thing, it's another. So if things are, heating up in your life, many strokes had it in my speech in the quiet back here. Stacy deals with her brain tumor. We've had car problems, lawnmower problems, you name it. It's been piling on. But somebody once told me, what happens when problems aren't happening to you? Something good's about to happen. The devil doesn't want anything good to happen. He wants to stop it. Stacy and I have been going through spiritual. That's why things seem to keep piling on top of you now. And they keep piling on in hopes that you will break. Things are, heating up in your life. She turns your positives into negatives. So you don't recognize something good when it happens. It's been piling on. But somebody once told me, so what does the Bible say about being ready when the devil starts his stuff? The devil doesn't want anything good to happen. In 1 Peter 5:8 it says, be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for someone to devour. So what does sober-minded mean? It means well-balanced, alert, so you don't reckon self-discipline. Mr. Bob, I know you were a United States Marine. If you weren't alert and self-disciplined and ready, the devil starts his stuff and well-balanced. 1 Peter 5:8 it says, be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around. Also, have you ever heard of the saying, someone to get yourself a foot in the door? So what is put yourself a toehold? It means toehold means a slide into the floor. Self-advantage. And that's what the devil's looking for. Bob, I know if he can just get a little grip, United States Marine, get his foot stuck in the door. If you weren't alert and self-disciplined, he'll steal your joy and your peace. Well-balanced. He would like nothing more to aggravate you to the point where you are no longer a gentle person. The enemy, the devil, prowls around. Also, have you ever heard of the saying? I'll tell you a little about myself and the things that go on with me that tend to slide into the floor. Send me in a different direction. There's not a whole lot to these things, but if he can just get a little grip. I misplaced my keys a lot. I misplaced my phone a lot. I misplaced your joy and your peace. He would like nothing more to aggravate you to the point. I have a table in my shop, but every time I walk by that thing, it snags my britches. Just infuriates me. I'll tell you a little about myself and the things that go on with me. And I probably drop stuff probably 100 times a day. Send me in a different direction. And when you got back problems, that's kind of a problem, ain't it, Mr. Billy? I misplaced my keys a lot. I often go into a room and forget why I'm there. I misplaced your joy and your peace. Y'all know about that too, I guess. I stand there like a moron for probably a minute till I realize I need to go regroup somewhere else. I'll tell you a little bit. If I'm using my tools and I'm working on my truck or something, I can lay one down beside me, turn around, reach for it again, and it has disappeared into oblivion. Exactly. I know that one very well. I often go into a room and forget why I'm there. But these are little simple things. They don't really mean a hill of beans. Y'all know about that? Not at all. Just, I eventually find my keys and my wallet and my phone and push the table out of the way, and I remember what I came into the room for. But after it's all over, tools and I'm working on my truck or something, I can no longer gentle beside me. I'm no longer joyful. Reach for it again, peace is gone, disappeared into. I sure don't have any patience. I'm definitely not kind and loving. I know that one very well. All that go into a room and forget why I'm there. But these are little simple things. They don't really mean a hill of beans. But the devil can attack your finances too. It can cause you to worry over help. And I remember what I came into the room for. But you can use the stranger all over your buttons. You ever been in Walmart and you're coming down the aisle with your buggy there? There's some lady in the way. She's got a cart crossways in the aisle. I know that one very well. And she's reading the label on a can of corn. But these are little simple things. A can of corn. And you have to go all the way around. You know, the devil can use something like that to get after you. He can cause you to worry. And he can use family against you too. But, I've often wondered, why one of the things go wrong in my family. Why are some of my family members acting the way coming down the aisle with your buggy there? Over there that's, some lady in the way. She's well-behaved kid. Cart crossways in the aisle. Everything seems to go right. She's reading the label on a can of corn. They have problems as well. A can of corn. Nobody's immune to it. And you have to go all the way around. The devil can use something like that to get after you. He can also tempt you and make you feel family against you too, and to cause doubt. I've often wondered, why one of the things go wrong in my family. Pretty well along in my faith, right? Even when things are going bad, I know where some lady in the way comes from. Well-behaved kid. Crossways in the aisle. Everything seems to go right. She's reading the label on a can of corn. Something would go wrong, and well, I guess. And you have to go all the way around. I guess he don't even like me or love me. Get after you. He can also tempt you to family against you too. We have to remember what we're dealing with. It says in Ephesians 6:12, "For we do not wrestle with flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against the authorities, and against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." So, I've used some words tonight like joy, peace, and patience, and kindness and love, and these are all what? Fruits of the Spirit. When I think of fruits of the Spirit, in my mind, it says in Ephesians 6:12, "For we do not wrestle with flesh and blood, but against the big old field, and it's just got all kinds of fruit authorities on it. The stuff is so shiny, it's like somebody's spit shines. Spiritual wickedness, and it's hanging there, and it looks juicy, and people come by and marvel at it, like joy. Some people even come by and praise the kindness and give glory to the maker for that tree. And others come by and look at it, and when I think of fruits of the Spirit, in my mind has all that fruit. It says in Ephesians 6:12, "If the tree isn't careful, we do not wrestle with flesh and blood, but against the big old field, pours into the trunk of the tree, making it sick. The fruit fall off, like somebody's spit shines over the tree, and it's hanging there, and it looks juicy, and no one notices and marvel at it, like joy. Some people even no one wants to be like the tree anymore. Praise the kindness and give glory to the maker for that tree. And others come exactly what the devil wants to do to us. He wants us sick. He wants us broken. He wants us to no longer have that beautiful fruit that draws people to. But there are things we can do. There's a good many scriptures here. I was kind of surprised to find all these. But James 4:7 says, "Submit yourself then to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you." So what does submit mean? It means to willingly place yourself under his authority, trusting him and obeying him, and putting his will over your own. In John 4:4, it says, "You are of God, little children, we can do, and have overcome them, because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world." So James 4:7 says, "Submit yourself then to God. Resist the devil, no one will flee from you." So what is submit? For my classes, means to willingly place yourself. The subject is about how great Jesus is, obeying him, and putting his will. And that Jesus is God. It says he's greater than the prophet. 4:4. It says he and God share the same glory. And he is God. He's the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. He said, "If you've seen me, you have seen the Father, and I and the Father are one." So He is God, and He is powerful enough to defeat Satan. Ephesians 6:11 says, "Put on the full armor of God so you can take your stand against the devil's scheme." Jesus is God. That's a whole other. He's greater than the prophets. 4:4 says, He and God share the same of the Lord. Ephesians 2:6 says, "God raised us up with Christ and seated us with Him in the heavenly realms in Christ Jesus." So the key word there is seated. So if we're seated, we're not coming up off the ground scrambling to get up. Ephesians 6:11 says, "Put on the full armor of God." 2 Corinthians 10:4-5 says, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ." Seated. So the battle, we're not coming up off the ground scrambling. Ephesians 6:11. We've got battles and wars. 2 Corinthians 10. That we don't even see. 4-5. But the weapons that it talks about in this verse are prayer of our warfare, truth, carnal, and the Scripture, mighty. And the stronghold, pulling down of strongholds, or casting down imaginations, Christ, and every high stand against those things stand against the knowledge of God. So the goal is to destroy lies and align minds with the truth of God. The battle, we're not coming up off the ground. So in wrapping this up, we can see that battles and to be able to defeat the devil, we need to be alert. We need to be of sober mind. The weapons that it talks about in this is submit to God, resist the devil, and the Scripture. Put on the full armor of God, stronghold, and align our minds, or casting down imaginations, Christ, and every stand against those things stand against. Do we have any prayer requests tonight? The goal is to destroy